And so, with another episode of Star Trek Picard darkening our doorstep, I have another addendum video where I point out some of the issues that I didn't really have time to cover in my original review. So let's start with our friend Corey Soong. So she's able to see in the lab using a 3D rendering of a 2D image. Now Q is going to give her the cure, which is sent via a package, clearly next second delivery, because as he says, I've sent a package to you, the package literally arrives at that moment. This is just an incredible coincidence, because if she'd had this idea an hour earlier, the package would still have arrived at the same time. I mean, that would have probably made more sense. It could be a coincidence, but I think it's just contrivance. Now, whilst we're on the subject of Q is, or certainly was, immortal, omnipotent, all-knowing, and extremely powerful. However, Q has, for all intents and purposes, lost his powers. For someone who can't simply click his fingers and snap his will into existence, he certainly does get around a lot, and he seems to gain access to a lot of highly sensitive areas. How? Why? Why is he not stopped by anyone? I mean, this FBI agent even calls him Sir. What the hell is happening here? He doesn't have a badge, ID, a gun, anything. He's just dressed like an FBI agent. And where did he get the FBI cosplay outfit from? I don't understand. I really wish I wasn't talking about Star Trek in such negative ways. I would never have imagined that Star Trek would end up being this. Okay, so I think this one was coming. It definitely needs covering. It's the battery issue. As we all know, battery technology has come quite far in the last 20 years with the introduction of lithium-ion batteries, which Star Trek is now telling us is perfect for the facilitation of the process of assimilation. What? As I said in my review, that's absolutely stupid. I mean, if that isn't bad enough, there's obviously more to it. You see, our pair of utter fuckwits come across Jurati ripping out car batteries from parked cars. Now, standard 12-volt car batteries are miles different from lithium-ion batteries. Car batteries contain lead and sulfuric acid. The acid serves as an electrolyte, and as we know, it's pretty lethal stuff and extremely corrosive to human tissue. Yet, here's Jurati seemingly eating the fucking stuff. No, I'm not joking. She destroyed all of these cars to consume sulfuric acid. I mean, this is just unreal. I mean, we're told that Jurati is only partially assimilated, which means for the most part she's human. Her body's still human, but apparently it can just handle sulfuric acid. But she needs metals to complete the assimilation process to allow the nanoprobes to be able to assimilate. I mean, we all know what assimilation is. It's tiny robot machines called nanoprobes. They assimilate the body's blood cell by blood cell, and that's how they travel throughout the body. Assimilation is almost instantaneous in any which way. And you're not telling me the Queen can't just assimilate someone. She's the Borg Queen, for God's sake. Also, during this act, Queen Jurati grabs Raffi by the neck and proceeds to start strangling the life out of her. Now I say faster, pussycat, kill, kill. But at this point, Jurati intervenes and stops the Queen from killing her. Oh, Jurati, you really are a constant disappointment. When we return to the pair of complete numpties, Raffi, having just been strangled near to the point of death, wishful thinking, has absolutely no visible effects from this strangulation whatsoever. I mean, she's just a little out of breath. Why the hell do these hack writers actually think that she would be fine after that, let alone able to speak? I mean, the amount of damage it would have done to Raffi's neck, the trauma to the windpipe alone would have seen Raffi struggling to breathe, struggling to swallow, as I've said previously, struggling to talk, and pretty much unable to move her neck. I mean, all that would happen if it was a human strangling her, but she was being strangled by a Borgified Jurati, who has demonstrated previously that she has superior strength, thanks to the partial assimilation from the Queen. I mean, Raffi would have been dead as a can of spam. Oh, writers, Why do you tease us so? Now, you would think that's probably all I'm going to cover in this scene, but no, I'm afraid you're not getting off that easily. These pair actually physically connect the dead guy's phone to a tricorder. They plug in and jumpstart the phone with a physical connection. What? How does it even have the right connection? You know, all phones have a particular type of plug, USB or the iPhone variation. Now, tricorders in the Star Trek universe are pretty impressive devices. Technically, yes, they could be referred to as a MacGuffin for sure, but there's a litany of technical manuals that explain just how these things work and what they can do and what they can't do. But usually, they can access anything wirelessly and manipulate anything that emits an EM signature. I mean, we've seen this in Enterprise. We've seen this in The Next Generation. They can project images. They can scan images. They can scan for great distances. They can unlock car doors because they manipulate the EM signature. But Raffi and Seven are like, never mind, we'll just hook it up because we don't have to explain ourselves with this show, do we? On to a little further in the episode, and as I said in my review, this scene was absolutely hilarious. The idea that Guinan can somehow project herself anywhere is just beyond belief. It's beyond canon, and it's beyond anything that we already know about her species. So, allow me to play devil's advocate for just one moment. What if she just projected herself into Picard's perception? As you can see, Agent Wells seems to be completely oblivious to her presence, and we can reasonably deduce that this is the case. But even that's just fucking hilarious, because it still means that she's able to project herself into someone else's psyche. Elorians do not have this ability. I mean, they never have. It's just another bloody retcon that we didn't need or didn't ask for. It's also incredibly derivative. I mean, the whole scene just brings elements from shows like Supernatural and Stranger Things, and it just doesn't work at all. Certainly not in Star Trek. However, I do at this point need to thank the writers, because I genuinely haven't laughed like that in a while. It was just so stupid. I nearly spat out my tea. Yes, I'm British and I like a cup of tea. Sue me.
Tea. Hot. No. Guinan, be quiet. I'm doing it. I mean, tea. PG tips. Piping hot.
During the interrogation scenes, Wells reveals that he has a friend who goes over all the CCTV footage and pings him anything that's out of the ordinary. I mean, maybe she's with the lone gunman. This is, after all, a version of Mulder. Ugh. And she sent Wells images of the retarded Picard squad at the gala, or gala. he actually says gala, and then he says gala. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I don't get it. But I mean, here's where that particular thread doesn't make any sense. She has the stills from the CCTV footage of the gala, but she doesn't have any images of Picard with Renee, or Picard getting hit by a car, or the retarded Picard squad getting out of there whilst carrying Picard's body, or Jurati's spontaneous musical tripe that I'm still laughing about a few weeks later. You know, Jurati being escorted by security. I mean, she clearly made no effort at all to track these guys using CCTV from literally anywhere else. She didn't track the crazy blonde thumb with a face as she's left the gala, walking in the middle of the road, barefoot, ending up in a bar, breaking a window, leaving with this guy and killing this guy because she couldn't get her assimilation erection, and clearly stealing his boots.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motor. You know what? Actually, I just need your boots. Ow.
So, we discover that Wells was the young boy being chased by the Vulcans that were surveying a pond on Earth for some reason, with absolutely no regard to their own rules of non-interference. Once Wells spots them, he runs away from them. They pursue him and catch up with him once he falls over. Now, one of the Vulcans initiates a mind meld to erase his memories of their encounter. Ah, clever Vulcans. I mean, that's pretty logical. Yeah, I can get on board with that. However, the Vulcans get beamed away before he can complete the meld, leaving young Wells with a full memory of seeing aliens on Earth. Now, it's pretty well established that the Vulcans know that in order to land on a planet with a sentient species on it, that they would have to blend in with the natives and cover the features that differ between humans and Vulcans. Now, in the case of the Vulcans, they usually just cover their ears with a bandana or a head covering, and that would be pretty much sufficient. But no, these Vulcans are pretty much in full Vulcan get-up. I mean, they couldn't be more conspicuous if they tried. You know, they've made absolutely no effort to blend in whatsoever. They're just in the middle of a wood collecting samples or running dirt sample traces. God knows what they're actually doing. That mission is now compromised, and they've essentially been exposed to a native human. One of the Vulcans decides to erase Wells's memory. I mean, rightfully so, but before he can finish, he's randomly beamed away. I mean, why? Who the frickety frackety fucking hell has decided to beam them up? I mean, there's no order given, there's no communication, it just happens spontaneously. What the hell? Also, why wouldn't that Vulcan officer have returned to finish what he started, even if he was accidentally beamed up? These Vulcans have just left this human with memories of an alien species, contaminating the human culture and breaking one of Star Trek's biggest rules. Now, I'm not talking generally about the Prime Directive. The Prime Directive is Starfleet's rule. It's a universally understood rule that you don't interfere with a species that doesn't yet have the capability to become interstellar and meet other species. It's just not something you do. This is heavily covered in Enterprise. T'Pol says it over and over and over and over again. I mean, non-interference is paramount. So, towards the end of the episode, Queen Jurati, the thumb with a face, murdering assimilation impotent accumulation of utterly useless biomatter, has gone to visit Dr. Evil in his secret volcano lair and tells him that there are two possible outcomes going forward. In one, he's the saviour of the planet, and in the other, he dies alone. Now, we're told that he plays a big part in the birth of the Confederation timeline, and the Queen is going to help him fulfill that. Why? Why would the Queen even consider instigating that timeline? You know the one where she was imprisoned by Picard, where the Borg are practically defeated. I mean, what's going on here? Is there a stray Vulcan in the writers' room? You know, randomly mind melding with them, partially erasing their memories. I mean, fuck knows at this point. Now, the next time we see Dr. Evil, he's called his friend the General, whoever the fuck that is, and now has himself a mercenary squad. What the hell? How does this disgraced scientist have any kind of pull with anyone in the military? Surely they'd washed their hands of him by now. I mean, how does he even have access to the Europa mission? He states, I can get you into mission control. I mean, he's been outed as Dr. Frankenstein. Sorry, Dr. Evil. It's just a mindfuck. Details like this require far too much suspension of disbelief, and immersively, they break the show. Not that it can get more broken than it is right now. Now, of all of these problems, this has been my biggest one so far, and it's been my longest lasting one. It's about respect. No, I'm not talking about respect for the characters. The writers clearly don't like the characters that they're writing for. I mean, I think respect went out of the window in season 1 of this utter skunk's arse of a show. I'm talking about our resident narcissistic sack of shit, Raffi. Now, Raffi is a commander by rank. She's the operations officer on the new Starship Excelsior, as we saw in the opening episode of this season, which, in my opinion, is the best episode so far. Not that the standard is particularly high at this point. Now, Raffi the Turd, ironically played by Hurd, is a commander. Rios is a captain, who commands the new USS Stargazer, no less. And we have Captain Dementia, or as he's better known as Admiral Picard. He is an admiral, after all. Now, why in the holy dried shitstall is Raffi bossing Rios about and talking to Picard like a bag of shit? She wouldn't be allowed to stay in Starfleet. She'd be cashiered out of the service for being a disrespectful, insubordinate piece of trash. I mean, it's a court-martial offence. Insubordination has always been a court-martial offence. Insulting an officer, you don't do it. I mean, You don't even do it in today's military and police and fire services. You just don't do it. You'd be thrown out. And anyone in Starfleet who behaved this way would be reprimanded for such behaviour. I mean, lack of respect for superiors. It just seems to be a trope of New Trek. And no, I'm not getting into Mariner. Certainly not in this video. Fuck Mariner. But what makes this worse is these total weak-ass wankers just seem to let her keep doing it. There's no putting a stop to it. I mean, if I was Picard, my first and only reaction would be,
"Excuse me, Commander. What did you just say to me? How dare you?"
I mean, man, I would pull rank so quick, she'd suffer extreme whiplash. Well, certainly not on her neck, because it's clearly a fucking tree trunk and nothing's hurting that, it would seem. I mean, I've no doubt stepped over a truckload of other problems, but these are the ones I wanted to cover. It just seems to me as if they've taken the characters of this show right back to where they began and almost forgotten that they're enlisted Starfleet officers once again. The show has devolved back to its first season, and I didn't think it could devolve any more. The final 2 episodes of Picard Season 2 will no doubt bring the story together in some wonderfully masterful way and neatly segue into Season 3, leaving no plot holes and unfinished bits. I can't even say it without laughing. That's right, they won't. Because there's absolutely no reason to believe that the writers are even capable of that level of intelligence. Hell, even decent writers would struggle to fix this mess. We all know that this show is so poorly written and so poorly produced that no matter what they do with the time that they have left, they will stay with their backs to the wall of the dark, ridiculous corner of derivative and contrived bullshit that they have written themselves into. Oh, Star Trek, can you fall any further? I guess you can.